Hello and welcome to today's stream, guys. So, today we are discussing the most important questions from British literature, which will help you in upcoming UGC NET and Karnataka exams. So, बने रहिए हमारे इस सेशन के एंड तक. So, it can help you in cracking your UGC NET and Karnataka set exam. So, everything which are discussing today is taken and researched from previous year question papers as well as our own book, that is British Literature Comprehensive Guide. If you want to purchase that, the link is given in the description box. You can purchase it from there. So we'll start with today's first question, that is, yes, first question is about Geoffrey Chaucer. Yes, who is known as the father of English literature. Of course, there is no doubt. इसमें कुछ डाउट नहीं है अगर आप लिटरेचर के स्टूडेंट हो और इसके बारे में जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है. So he is the father of English literature. Yes, you guessed it right. Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer is called as father of English literature. Chaucer legitimated English for literature mainly with the Canterbury Tales. एक क्वेश्चन बहुत बार रिपीट हुआ है, जैसे कि लास्ट अपीयर्ड इन 2022 2023 और चांसेस है कि इस बार भी रिपीट हो. सो यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दैट हु इज द फादर ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, Geoffrey Chaucer. Next question. Before moving the next question, we have to मतलब हमको एक्सप्लेनेशन की भी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी ना, क्यों उनको बोलते हैं और क्या वजह है उसके पीछे. So Chaucer legitimized Middle English as a literary language when most elite literature was written in a French and Latin. His use of English in the Canterbury Tales allowed a wider range of stories and realistic characters, setting the foundation for all later English poets and novelists. Chaucer's narrative style, humor, and deep social insight make his work central to British literary history. That's why he was called as a father of English literature. So, moving to the next question. What is the next question? Yes, the rhyme scheme A B A B C D C D E F E F G G is found in which kind of sonnet? So, there are four types of sonnets. So first three are very important: Petrarchan, Spenserian, Shakespearean. These are the important types of sonnets. So in that, this rhyme scheme is followed by the Shakespearean sonnet. एक क्वेश्चन आपको 2023 में भी था और 2024 में भी था. So you have to remember the Shakespearean sonnet follows this rhyme scheme: A B A B, C D C D, E F E F, and G G. So detailed explanation, we will see this in the explanation box. So the Shakespearean sonnet or English sonnet is divided into 3-4 line stanza. It is called as quatrains, and final 2 lines stanza. It is called as couplet. Each quatrain develops a theme of argument with the couplet presenting a conclusion or the twist. This clear division made it popular for exploring complex love, problems, and observation, hallmarks of Shakespearean poetry. So, next question, third question. Who first popularized the blank verse in English drama? So, the answer for this question is Marlowe, Thomas Marlowe. So, this question was appeared in UGC NET 2022 question paper. So, what is the meaning of blank verse? Now we will understand. Christopher Marlowe popularized the blank verse. Blank verse, unrhymed lines of iambic pentameter, revolutionized English drama by allowing characters to speak more naturally while still sounding poetic. Marlowe's use in a plays like Tamburlaine paved the way for Shakespeare's greatest speech and the poetic drama tradition. Mastery of blank verse is milestone in English literary evolution. So this was popularized by Christopher Marlowe. So next, the theory of negative capability was given by. So it was given by Keats, yes. So this question was repeated in 2021 and 2023 also. So now we will discuss about the explanation. Why kids' negative capability means the great writer remains open to the mastery and uncertainty without trying to answer every question logically. Kids admired Shakespeare's ability to show human complexity and contradictions with the being dialectic. This idea is now core to literary theory and romantic celebrations of imagination. So this is the explanation, clear explanation. This is we have taken from a book only. Okay. So next question. This is very famous question. It repeats more time. To be or not to be? That is the question. Feature in which play? So this is very important and repeated, most repeated questions. This line appears in a Hamlet. This iconic soliloquy from Act 3 is a major exam favorite questions, as I told. So the detailed explanation now we will see. One of the literature's most quoted lines, Hamlet soliloquy in Act 3, ponders life, death, and purpose. Its depth and ambiguity exemplify the psychological complexity introduced in English drama by Shakespeare. So this theme of indecision and philosophical questioning is echoes throughout the Western literature. Next question, sixth question. Who is the protagonist in a Paradise Lost? So the correct answer is Saturn. Saturn is the protagonist of Paradise Lost. This question is repeated in 2022 as well as 2025. So try to answer these questions in the chat box so you can get to know. So Milton's depiction of Saturn is so vivid, ambitious, and psychologically complex that many critics see him as a poem real protagonist. Paradise Lost redefined epic heroes, blending classical grandness with the Christian themes, and its blank verse style influenced all later English epics. So next question, the term Byronic hero is connected to which period? So this term is connected to Romantic period. So this question was asked in 2023 and 2024 also. Uh, so created Lord Baron. The Baronic hero is rebellious, moody, intelligent, and isolated, questioning norms and fate. This archetype surface is romantic and later Victorian fiction and poetry, mirroring the era spirit of individualism and its challenge to tradition. So next question. It was inspired by Lord Byron, as already we have discussed, who wrote Gulliver's Travel. So this question was appeared in 2023 question paper, UGC NET. The writer of this work is Jonathan Swift. It's a satire on society and politics using travel and fantasy. So Jonathan Swift novel is both fantastical OH and biting satire on government. It is a satire on government, science, and humanity. Each country visited by Gulliver exposes some social folly, making it a foundational text for genre of satire and lasting critique of enlightenment hobbies. Next, identify the odd one out. So the correct answer for this is Ulysses. All others are poetry, and Ulysses is a modernist novel by James Joyce. It was appeared in UGC NET 2020. The Prelude, Hyperion, and the Rime of Ancient Mariner are major poems from Victorian or early Victorian periods, whereas Ulysses is a novel that exemplifies 20th century modernism, radically experimental in the form of content and consciousness technique. In the memoriam stanza, the ABBA rhyme was used by whom? The correct answer is Tennyson. This was repeated for two times, 2022 and 2023. So elegy. So the ABBA stanza pattern of In Memoriam gives the poem uniquely a solemn and meditative tone. Tennyson's exploration of grief, death, and spiritual doubt in the poem made it is a touchstone of Victorian age struggle with the faith and science. तो ये जो ए राइम स्कीम है किसके द्वारा यूज किया गया? टेनिसन के द्वारा इन द पोएम इन मेमोरियम, जो कि एक एलिजी है. Next, the name lake poet refers to which group? The correct answer for this question is Wordsworth, Coleridge, and Southey. They wrote poetry inspired by England's Lake District. So this question was appeared in K-SET 2024. So these three poets inspired by England Lake District emphasized nature, personal, emotional, and individual insight. Foundation of Romanticism, their work challenged neoclassical order with a spontaneity and imagination. Next, which of the following is a Victorian novel on industrialization? The correct answer for this question is Hard Times. Dickens critiques industrial England and social effects. This was appeared in 2021 UGC NET. So, a critic of Victorian England, a factory system. Hard Times explores how rigid, fact-based education and industrial capitalism diminished human compassion, creativity. Dickens' novels were serialized, reaching large audience and raising awareness of social issues. Next, who would not be the poet associated with the which poetic tradition? The correct is Romantic. Celebrates the power of spontaneity of poetry. Appeared as a theme of 2023. So we will discuss Romanticism valorized poetry as a spontaneous expression of the feeling inspired by nature, imagination, and individualism. The era rebelled against strict rationalism, creating passionate and often visionary verse. So 14th question. Petrarchan sonnet is distinguished by which rhyme scheme in the octave? So इस क्वेश्चन में हमको पेट्रार्कन सोनेट के ऑक्टेव का राइम स्कीम बताना है. So the correct answer is ABBAA and BBA. This was repeated last in 2021 and last year also it was repeated. So this follows the rhyme scheme ABBAA BBA. The Italian or Petrarchan sonnet first 8 lines have a rigid rhyme scheme, forming the structure for presenting a problem or emotional situation, which often resolved or countered in a flexible subset. Last 6 lines are called as subset in Petrarchan sonnet and Italian sonnet. There are four types of sonnets. Next, the Spenserian stanza was invented for which poem? The correct answer is The Fairy Queen. It's a 9-line stanza from unique Spenser's epic. This question was appeared in UGC NET 2022. So Spenser created a challenging rhyme scheme ABABBCBCC for his epic, blending medieval content with the Renaissance formality. The 9-line stanzas are uniquely suited to elaborate description and philosophical allegory. Allegory means it is having two meanings, surface meaning and in-depth meaning. Next, who wrote an essay of dramatic poesy? So Dryden wrote an essay of dramatic poetry. The work compares classical and modern drama. So John Dryden essay debates the merits of classical drama versus modern innovation. It is both a defense of English stage poetry and an early work of English literary criticism, helping to define standards for restoration and later drama. Next, in which period was stream of consciousness technique prominent? It was prominent in modern period. So Ulf and Joyce made it this narrative method famous. So what is the meaning of stream of consciousness? Now we will discuss. So writers like James Joyce and Virginia Woolf used a stream of consciousness to record the human mind, wandering thoughts as they appear fragmented, non-linear, and deeply psychological. This innovation marked the modernist break with the traditional narrative structure. Next, who is the author of the Westland? So T.S. Eliot is the author of the Westland, a key modernist poem with the editorial help from Pound. So it was appeared in 2022. T.S. Eliot, The Westland, a landmark modernist poem. The Westland mixes voices, references as and languages to depict the spiritual desolation after World War One. Its complexity, symbolism, allusions demand active reading reflecting the confusion of modern existence. So next question. Dramatic monologue is best illustrated by whose work? So this is illustrated best by Browning's. My Last Duchess and other poems show deep psychology. It was appeared in K-SET 2023. And next we have dramatic monologue and Browning. Browning perfected the dramatic monologue where a character's speech reveals both situation and inner psychology. My Last Duchess, for example, uses a single controlling voice to expose the speaker's personality, motives, and story indirectly. So, this was 19th question. Next, 20th question. Who among the following was not a university weight? So, Ben Jonson was not from this group. Johnson was a letter, not a part of Elizabethan Witt's group. So this question was appeared in 2023 question paper. So University Wits were a group of late 16th century playwrights from Oxford and Cambridge who revolutionized Elizabethan drama with the experimental forms and language. Johnson, although a literary giant, belonged to the next generation. So I want to announce that if you are watching this video, please like this session so you can show support for our effort, and please comment from where you are watching. And if you want a book, if you want to purchase a book, the link is given in the description box. From there only we have taken the explanation for the today's session. Okay, next 21. The play Walpole is written by whom? So the writer of Walpole is Johnson. It was appeared in NET 2024. It's a satire on greed, subtitled as The Fox. So Walpole satires greed and depiction in a Venetian society using rich humor and complex characterization. It's a major example of city comedy, a genre highlighting the voices and follies of urban life. Next, pastoral elegy is best exemplified by Lycidas. This poem is written by Milton, wrote his Mon poet Edward King. On the death of Edward King, on the loss of Edward King, Milton wrote this poem. This question was appeared in K-SET 2022. Milton's Lycidas mourns the death of young poet, as I told, and a friend, but also explores the poet's own anxieties about fate, fame, and religion. The poem's classical reference and natural imagery define the pastoral elegy tradition. So next question. The poem Dover Beach reflects. So this reflects the Victorian crisis of faith. Matthew Arnold addresses doubt in a religion. This question was appeared in 2022. Victorian crisis of faith in a Dover Beach. Arnold poems laments the retreat of religious faith in an age of scientific progress and war. The sea's ebbing tides symbolizes a loss of certainty, while the poem's music reflects a search for meaning in uncertainty. Next, we have question 24. Which text is an example of Horatian satire? So the correct answer for this is The Rape of Locke. Pope uses the gentle ridicule unlike Swift's harshness. So, Horatian satire is a gentle, playful, and tolerant of human folly. Pope's poem turns a social scandal, the cutting of woman's lock of hair, into a mock epic, highlighting the frivolity of aristocrat manner. So next we have question number 25. The metaphysical conceit appears in Dunn's poetry. He uses elaborate and surprising comparison. This question was appeared in 2023. Dunn and metaphysical conceit. Dunn's poetry is famous for its startling comparison, using everyday items to express profound spiritual or emotional truth. The metaphysical conceit is a hallmark of 17th century poetry, originality and wit. Okay. So next question 26. These are from predicted friends and years. The Pilgrimage Progress by Bunyan is mainly, it is an allegory. It is allegory. It was appeared in NET 2023 and it may come in your upcoming exam, that is 2025. So Pilgrimage Progress as allegory. Every aspect of Bunyan's story has a spiritual parallel. Characters like Christian, hopeful and the faithful represents a person's struggle and virtues on their journey toward the salvation, making allegory a powerful teaching tool. Allegory in the sense it is having two meanings. Surface meaning is different and in-depth meaning is different. So next 27th question. Which of the following is build the sum? So David Copperfield is the answer for this question. It was appeared in 2022 question. It's coming of age story based on Dickens' life. So coming of age story, David Copperfield details the personal development and moral growth over time. Dickens draws from his life, blending personal experience with a social critic, which is why the novel feels so realistic and relatable. Next, who is associated with the phrase the best of times, the worst of times? So Dickens is the person who is associated with these lines. These are the opening lines of A Tale of Two Cities. This question was appeared in 2023. The rhyme and the contrast, it was the best of times and it was the worst of the times, sets the tone for the novel about dualities, cities, classes, moral choices and sacrifice during the French Revolution. Next question. In the Fairy Queen, the Red Cross Knight stands for what? So it is not standing for chastity, temperance, justice, but it stands for holiness. Each knight in the Spenser's poem symbolizes a virtue. It is a repeated question, so you have to very focus with this question. It was repeated and 2024. Next, Shakespeare's problem plays include. So problem plays blend of tragic and comic elements but deal with the serious and social or philosophical themes. Measure for measure questions justice, mercy, sexuality and hypocrisy. A challenging mix for both audience and critics. So next we have question number 31. The phrase emotion recollected in a tranquility is associated with Wordsworth. In the definition of poetry, these lines are there. This was Wordsworth's definition of poetry in the preface to Lyrical Ballads. It was appeared in 2022 question paper. So he tells that poetry is not just a spontaneous feeling but refined and considered reflection, the process of experience something powerful, meditate on it later, and distill it into verse. Next, we have question number 32. Ottawa Rima is a stanza. It is a stanza of 8 lines with a rhyme scheme AB, 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 CC. It was appeared in UGC NET 2021. Next, traditionally used in the Italian epics, Ottawa Rima's tightly structured rhyme makes it suitable for grand narrative poetry. Baron employed it on Don John to create comic effect alongside heroic ones. So next we have question 33. Which novelist is famous for Wessex novel? Thomas Hardy is very famous for these types of novels. Test, the Mayor of Casterbridge, etc. are the set in Wessex. So the Westland begins with which month? So this poem begins with the April month in the cruelest month is famous opening. Okay. The opening inverts the traditionally celebration of spring as a renewal, using instead as a symbol of painful change and lost certainty, mirroring the spiritual emptiness of modern Europe after World War I. So next question, which poet wrote Dover Beach? So this famous poem is written by Arnold, Matthew Arnold. The poem deals with the faith and doubt in the Victorian age, UGC NET 2022. Arnold's lyric captures the feeling of isolation and loss as the old centuries fade, the granting drawer or of pebbles and the sea of faith image stand from for the ebb and the flow of religious existential belief of modern. Next, uh, which work is considered the first novel? So the correct answer is Pamela. Samuel Richardson's Pamela is widely created as the first modern English novel. It can come for your upcoming exam, so be ready with this. Pamela uses a letter form to track a servant's girl emotional and moral trials. Its influences, character development, psychology, and moral issues became a central to fiction. The term angry young man is related to whom? So this term is related to post-war dramatist. British playwrights like John Osborne critiqued post-World War II society, and it is frequently returning topic. That's why you have to be very careful with this term. So angry young man is related to post-war dramatist. This group of British writers and dramatists, including John Osborne, expressed frustration with the class privilege, the loss of empire, and the stagnation of contemporary culture. Their works sparked a new, socially aware British drama. Okay, so next we have question number 38. Who wrote Stream of Consciousness novel like Ulysses? So this novel is written by James Joyce. Joyce perfected this modernist novelist narrative style. This question was appeared in 2022, 2023, so it may appear in your upcoming exams. Ulysses reveals the inner thoughts of its character using unfiltered language, fractured syntax, and associative leaves. This revolutionary style influenced countless writers and challenged assumptions about storytelling. Uh, Next, we have question number 39. The lyric "Do not go gentle into the good night" is by whom? So, Daniel Thomas is the person relying on his father's death, major postmodern poem. A villain is a 19-line poem with repeated lines and rhymes. Thomas' poem is a plea to his dying father to resist death, blending personal grief with a formal complexity for emotional impact. So next we have question number 40. Match the authors to their periods. The correct answer for this question is 1. A with 1. In means Chaucer, Renaissance. B2, Duns, Metaphysical. C, Modern. Joyce is belong to modern period and Arnold was belong to Victorian period. It was appeared in 2024 question. Hellenism. The Hellenism in Keats means. So the correct answer is influence of Greek art and culture. Uh, So Keats' love for Greek art and mythology is seen in odes like to a Grecian urn and Edmenon. Greek ideals of beauty and heroic narrative inspired the formal perfection and mythological focus of his poetry. Uh, Next question. Which novelist pioneered psychological realism? So George Eliot is a person who pioneered psychological realism. Her novels like Middlemarch explores the inner lives clearly. Okay. Uh, Now we will see the explanation. Eliot's novels like Middlemarch dwell deeply into the character, motives, self-depiction, and social pressure. She was the first major British novelist to prioritize psychology over plot in a realistic fiction. Next question. T.S. Eliot's objective correlative means. It means inner feelings shown by external symbols. Eliot believed that emotion is the best communicated by images and evoke it. The reap of the lock is what? The correct answer for this question is mock epic. By applying grand language and epic conventions to tribal society incidents, Pope mocks, Pope mocks the piteousness of his era. The poem emphasizes with the wit and irony over seriousness. Okay. So next question. The willing suspension of disbelief concept is by whom? So this concept is about by Coleridge. He explains the reader's readiness to accept the fantasy in literature. This question was appeared in 2024. Next 46. The modernist slogan "Make it new" is ascribed to whom? So this slogan is ascribed to Ezra Pound. This motto guided many innovations of 20th century literature. Next, 47. Who wrote Tradition and Individual Talent? So this is written by T.S. Eliot, an influential essay on poetic creation and literary tradition. Next, in Gulliver's Travel, which land represents academy pedantry? So Laputa is the land which represents academic pedantry. Uh, the floating island of Laputa is a swift target for mockery of impractical scientific research, disconnected from everyday life, a critic of enlightenment excesses. So today's last second question. Elegy written in a country churchyard is by whom? So this is written by Gray, Thomas Gray, a major 18th century elegy reflecting on a death and obscurity 2021, predicted for K-SET and NET 2025. Who coined the stream of consciousness term? So here many people get confused. Is it Virginia Woolf or James Joyce? So these two, this term is basically coined by William Jones. तो दोनों गलत जवाब होंगे अगर आप वर्जिनिया वुल्फ और जेम्स जॉयस पे करेक्ट करोगे. So the correct answer is James only. Psychologist William James' term was taken up by the modernist writers to describe the interior flow of thought, pioneering the new methods to explore consciousness and subjective experience in literature. जब आपको क्वेश्चन दिया जाए पॉइंट तो स्ट्रीम ऑफ कॉन्शियस पे टिक करके आना, बट who means accepted or accepted that stream of consciousness narrative skill, तब जेम्स जॉयस आया तो जेम्स जॉयस एंड वर्जीनिया वुल्फ आई तो वर्जीनिया वुल्फ. So thanks for watching today's session, and if you want to download this PDF, we will provide in the description section. You can download it, and if you want that book, if you want to purchase that book, that also we will give in the description box. Link we will give in the description box. You can download it from it. Okay, thanks for watching.